Okay. Today is what episode is this, Mimi? 4 or 3?
Four.
4. We are on the 4th episode of the Investment Club at UNC Charlotte podcast. Woo! And this is probably where you're gonna edit with like little things going on. Woo, right?
Can't mention it.
Yeah, you can. You can mention it. It's
I
fine.
guess.
Um, so a lot of cool things happened to the investment club this week, right? We got our first sponsor, so that happened. Not monetary sponsor, but basically a startup company of a website that is basically for college students in finance or accounting to give them a better understanding of the market as a whole, be able to be better at interviews. They judge your resume, just a whole litany of things. I don't know. We just got it today, so I haven't given it the full run through, but we get it for free, and that's pretty awesome. So I guess Richard, since you talk all the time, let me ask you, what do you think about our new sponsorship?
First of all, it's great that we have a sponsor or first sponsor for like this club is growing so much, honestly, and and I mean it goes along with what we do. So I think that's perfect. We talk about the stock market, getting better professionally. The resumes. We talk about all these things. So I think this goes perfect with us, honestly.
Yes, it's a good free thing to have.
Right.
Mimi, what are your thoughts? Mimi, I'd love to hear your thoughts, or do you just mirror Richard's thoughts?
I'm not gonna remember which starts. I actually already applied for it. I did the referral and everything, and I'm in it already. And I already submitted my resume, and I unfortunately got a 65%. But that's okay. That means I have some improvements to work on.
I got a 0%. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, zero. Refresh it. Maybe that'll help. But it's really good. It looks really great. I mean, as somebody who likes, marketing and looking at things, it's a really great professional website. And as Richard, said, it goes along well with what we're doing, resume wise, and it has a lot of jobs on there as well, internships too, and it helps with interviewing as well. I saw. So it should be fun and interesting. I'll take a look at it later after the podcast for sure.
Nope, my resume got a 0% score.
Oh,
Don't know why. Weird.
Does it give news markets too?
Yeah, market news. Yeah.
it does.
Zaid, what about you, man? Probably haven't looked at it yet, but what do you think about the news?
I honestly love it. This is just another stepping stone. We're sure they're going to end up permanently sponsoring us, probably even giving us money because we're just that good. Yeah, it's pretty great, especially because this is something that directly links to finance. And I'm just wondering, I didn't hear, how did you even reach out to these people, or did they reach out to you, or?
They reached out to me.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, so they see what we're doing already. They love it.
Yeah, it's because of LinkedIn that they reached out to me.
That means I'm doing good. That means
I'm actually surprised they didn't reach out to Mimi.
I didn't get anything.
Yeah, because Mimi controls the investment club LinkedIn. So, or I don't know if they found us on LinkedIn or if they found us through going through the Niner Engage like clubs. I don't know, but they reached out to me. Okay. So since we're on the topic of money, let's talk about the money that we got for our goal. Like, Zaid, what's our goal? What's our goal as a club?
$10,000.
No, but why? What's our goal? What do we
Oh,
want
we're basically so as you know, this is the investment club. So we are having a fund that we are going to invest ourselves, and we're going to be taking out every so often 75% of that profit. We'll be giving that back to our club in the form of scholarships. So if you're not in the club, you get school paid for by free. So join the club. The other 25% goes back in, where we're going to keep on making it grow until eventually the whole club's going to have free college.
No, that like don't listen to Zaid.
Might take 50 years though.
So our plan is to get started a club managed fund. And so all donations that we are starting to get is going towards that. That's our big goal. And we had 49 hours of donations, this 49er event thing. And we don't know how much we got, but we did get a lot. We got fifth fourth place or fifth place? I think it was fifth place out of over 30 in the amount of donations we got. So I look forward to finding out how much we got, guys, but I don't know.
Can we talk about it a little bit more, like where we plan to invest or not yet?
No, you don't know until it's time to invest.
Right.
Yeah. But we can talk about the market, right? So we are the investment club. So actually, let me look, because the lowest I've ever seen in my life on the CNN Fear and Greed Index was a value of 6. And right before the market went up a whole bunch, it was literally at 6. And I have never seen it that low. So this correlates with the old saying. It was a Rothschild, not Warren Buffett, who said it. He said, the best time to buy is when there's blood in the streets. So an analogy to that is in the fear and greed index. When it is in extreme fear, which it is right now, that is a great time to add to your long-term investments, because as we all know, the market goes up over time. And as long as you're investing in great companies, they will not only recover, but surpass. So right now, the fear and greed index is 13. So it was 6 and now it's 13. We're still in extreme fear. You don't get out of extreme fear until it has a rating of 26. So it needs a rating of 26 to get out of extreme fear, and then it'll just be in fear. So I think there's a lot of upside to go. But there is a lot of like technical analysis I've been doing. So let me ask you guys something. Obviously, this fear is because of the tariffs, right? Do you think that from the current levels that we are at, that it is easier or harder to go lower?
Harder to go lower.
Okay, Mimi, what do you think?
What do you mean? Like, I need more of like a.
Do you think, statistically, let's put it that way, in your mind, do you think that with everything that's going on, that it's easier for the market to go lower, or is it easier for the market to go higher?
Oh, then I agree with Zayden. Harder.
Yeah.
Harder to go lower?
Yeah, I'd agree with Zayden.
Easier to go higher?
Yeah.
Richard, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely harder to go lower.
Okay, I tend to agree with you guys. I think that the market is just so technically, I don't know if you guys remember when we talked about this, but it's technically oversold, right? On a whole bunch of indicators, that it's actually harder to go lower than it is to go higher, because let's make it an analogy. A TV, right? You go to the store and there's this flat screen TV, right? That's 60 inches, right? And it's by some company that you don't really care about. And you're not in the market for a TV. So when you first see that TV is selling for $1,000. So then you go in the week after that, and now it's selling for $500. And you still say, well, it's on sale from last week, but nah, I still don't need a TV that bad where I'm going to dish out $500. So you go in another week, and now it's on sale for $250. Well, now that's 75% off. So now you're thinking, well, yeah, I don't technically need a TV, but this will be an upgrade. So you hold off, but you said, but yeah, still, I got to budget correctly, and I don't have $250. So you go in a week later, and now it's $100. That's 90% off, and it is a legit upgrade to what you currently have. Do you need a TV? No, but at some point, that TV just gets priced crazily, where you are almost foolish not to buy it. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Like, so
Yeah.
that analogy is what it's like in the market to a certain extent as well. the market, a company, company or stocks are backed up by their fundamentals. This is like the axiom of what we go over in this club. Company fundamentals. How much revenue do they have? How much debt do they have? How much assets do they have, etc. I keep on going back to CVS, right? Because I was just so surprised that it was so low that I made a LinkedIn post about it. And I said, right now, CVS is cheaper than its assets after than its book value, than its assets after liabilities. Its market cap is cheaper than that. So if you buy it now, you are buying it cheaper than the money they have in the bank. As a matter of fact, an analogy I made for CVS was pretend I had this box, and in this box was $100 bill, and you knew there was $100 bill, and I said, I am selling you this box for $50. Would you buy it? You would say, of course I would buy it, because I give you 50 and then inside is 100. I'd be silly not to buy it. Well, that was CVS. CVS was worth more than the stock price or the market cap was. Right? So it was foolish not to buy CVS. And then I made that post, and what happened? CVS went up like 80%. So these things happen in the market. They happen all of the time. They're not as rare as people like to think they are. The only thing is, when I found CVS was like a diamond in the rough, where not many companies were like that. You had to look for it. But when we have market-wide fear-mongering events like the tariff and the trade war, etc., that brings the CNN Fear and Greed Index to fucking 13, then a lot of companies will get a lot cheaper than people thought they can go. But that doesn't mean that it's permanent. Like Zaid, what
beauty.
what does it like? Does it mean that if a company's stock price goes down, that next quarter they're going to be making less revenue? Does it necessarily mean
Nope.
that? No, it doesn't. Exactly. So unless they are actually making less revenue, unless their fundamentals are actually being affected and not this news event, it's almost like it's a no-brainer to buy, right, guys? So that's what's going on in the market right now. But let's see. Let's talk about something fun. So, Mimi, what stock? I know you're very early in your investing journey, but what company do you really like individual company? I know that you're an S&P 500 type of investor right now, which you should be until you know how to find those diamonds in the roughs. But until then, what company do you really like? Individual company.
I'm really like looking into, and last semester I remember when we did the competition market watch, when you told me it was a bad idea to even invest in this company at the time.
Uh-huh.
But I'm looking into Apple because like it's a company I know. I'm just looking into it, seeing how it looks and see how it like, grows and goes down and goes up and goes down.
I said Apple was bad.
At the time, because that was the first thing I put money in market watch, and you were like, that's a bad idea. But I just can't like stop looking at it because I love Apple. Everything I own is Apple. So
So let's I'm using the comparison tool right now, and SPY. There we go. Yeah. So when was Market Watch?
that was last semester. It was
So at the end of 2024.
about
August.
I would say that's when he like started.
All right. Okay. I'm going to share my screen.
Okay.
So from August till today, the SPY, the S&P 500, has actually outperformed Apple from August all the way to today by 1.30%. You've actually lost 0.14% by investing in Apple from August to today.
I mean, that was last semester, so that
Yeah.
yeah.
So let's see, because this thing works, it compares it from when you invest it. So let's see if there's any time where it outperforms the S&P 500. Okay. So if you invested in it on January of 2025, you are down slightly less than the S&P 500. But then every other option, it's worse. It's a worse investment than the S&P 500. Look how crazy that is, guys.
I know that now.
Fun fact, I actually don't like Apple at all. I kind of hate Apple.
Right. Now, Apple really steps away if we go like to 2019. If we started investing in 2019, Apple has done 450%, while the S&P 500 has done 120%. So yeah, I mean, it's all depending on what the time frame. So that's important to know. But yeah, I don't have any Apple shares either. But there's no doubt that long term they're good. It's just there's a lot of headwinds in Apple, but right. Okay, so Apple was yours. All right, Richard, what company do you really like?
I really like Nvidia, man. I like how they're on top of everything that's AI and everything like that.
Okay, you really like Nvidia. So I will also look at Nvidia, but before I look at Nvidia, right, and I compare it to the S&P 500, like, don't tell me you like Nvidia just because you understand it or because that's what you know. Like, what part of the fundamentals, if you can remember any parts of their fundamentals, do you like about Nvidia? Other than that Nvidia has to do a lot with AI and you think AI is the future. Other than that, in their as it pertains to their fundamentals, how have they proven to you that they have good fundamentals?
I like they crushing their competition.
Okay, and what do you mean by crushing their competition?
No other company that's like AI and stuff like that. They're nowhere near where
Okay,
they.
but what do you mean by nowhere near? How can you quantify what you're trying to say?
Um, the stock market, like their prices and also like their visibility. Like if you look around, this AI is gonna be Nvidia. It's not gonna be their competition.
That is a
So
very
quantify.
beginner way of quantifying it, right? So stock price will never quantify anything, believe it or not. But what you could have said, Richard, is their revenue, right? They keep on making more and more revenue growth, no matter what. They can't build their chips fast enough. All of their chips are always bought, so they are able to get high margins because of the demand for their chips. Like, that's a quantifying thing that you could have said, Richard.
Right.
I do like this. I would like to point out I'm not 100% in the belief that their forward growth is reasonable because I believe their sales growth is some ridiculous numbers. I don't know it off the top of my head. I can look it up. Sales growth prediction.
Well, what's the sentence that you were going to say?
I believe they're supposed to like increase their sales by like 40%. Analysts have them increasing by like a crazy amount. And I do think that as competition grows, that the sales are not going to continue at the same rapid rate they have been at. And I think the competition hasn't been factored in well.
Okay, well, let's talk about what they have done. From 2023 to 2024, I'll just share my screen so you guys can see what I'm saying. Right? From 2023 to 2024, their revenue grew from 27 billion to 60. All right? 27 to 60. That's 122% growth. From 2024 to 2025, they went from 61 to 130.5. 61 to 130.5. That's a 114% growth. So they went from 122%, then they slowed down a little bit, if you can call that slowing down, to 114% growth. So you tell me, Zaid, what do you think their 24 to 25 numbers are going to be at the end of the year? You think it's going to be less than 40% growth?
So this year, there's a chance it's 40% growth, and I can actually explain why. So mainly, most of their sales come from other companies, like I believe even Microsoft and all these other companies have to buy them off of NVIDIA. There's no one else to get those high-powered chips from.
Right.
So I do think this year, definitely. I think another big thing is the tariff war with China is going to make China really put a fire under their bellies to try to increase their quality of semiconductors so they can get ahead in it. Although that is a problem for them because NVIDIA can't sell to China. And then ASML and Carl Zeiss Optics, who create the semiconductor platforms or the lithography machines and the semiconductor wafers that go to TSM, they are also restricted for what kind of products can go to China, which is keeping them behind in the race. But I do think that some competition could rear their head in there, and NVIDIA could definitely lose its monopoly that it's holding right now, if you want to call it that.
NVIDIA doesn't have a monopoly because
On the high-end ones, nobody else can produce what they produce.
right, but they don't have a monopoly. And
not definitional wise, yeah.
Yeah, words have meaning. You can't say they have a monopoly. They say they're the only ones capable. Like, are they forever going to be the only ones capable? No, I don't think so. I think eventually competition to some degree will come up. Will they be as good? I don't know. Because technology is very exponential. I think a good example of technology being exponential is Tesla. All right. Forget whatever you want. You can say whatever you want about their stock price, right? And the overall company. But let's talk about the cars. There is no electric car built better than a Tesla. Period. The technology used by Tesla far outweighs the technology and buildmanship of any other company. That is a fact. The engineering behind it, if you've ever seen a Tesla broken down and then another electric vehicle broken down, you can see it right there in front of you on how they're built, the quality of the build, right? And so I'm getting a little bit off topic here, but I don't think obviously I don't think that NVIDIA will sustain over 100% growth year over year for like the next 10 years. Fuck no, I don't think that. But I do think that from 25 to 26, we're still on the S curve part. I still think they're going to. I'm going to just be more bullish than you. I think they're going to surpass over 50% growth. I don't think they're going to fall from 113%, 122, then 113, and then 40. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they might barely get below 100%, but they're not falling to 40. That's what I think. I don't think the deceleration is going to be so fast.
I think the usage of semiconductors would have to increase because currently they do supply, I believe, 90% of all high-end all high-end chips. I do believe they produce 90% of them.
Yeah, but I think you're missing out some important factoids. Is that all the major companies? We're talking Microsoft, we're talking Google, we're talking Meta, and more, and Netflix, and more, and more, and more, and more. They are building they are spending billions of dollars in building more and more data servicing basically they need the computation power. They are expanding exponentially, And remember, I don't say words just to say them. Exponentially means by a factor of, right? So it's not linear. They are building way more this year than they were last year. But yet at the same time, we're supposed to believe that NVIDIA's sales is going to go down. It just doesn't math. It doesn't compute to me.
I don't think they'll go down, but 40% growth is very large, in my opinion.
Yes,
But
40% is large, but they're currently doing over 120, man. You're saying that they're going from 120. They did from 24 to 25. They grew 120. I think that's what I said. Was it? Is that what it said?
120.
114, excuse me. 114% growth. You're saying that they're going to go to 40% growth from 114% growth. That's
no,
what
an increase of 40% growth. Oh yeah. Never mind. That statement's wrong. I just misheard you. But I don't know. There's a possibility for it. I do personally. I bought up a lot of NVIDIA. It's one of my top picks for rises. But I personally do think it's a little bit of a bullish prediction for the long run. Next year, I think they'll still be doing really good, especially with what's going on with the tariff war. It actually helps them in the competition ways, even though it does diminish their sales for parts of Asia, mainly just China, I believe.
And do you guys not believe, like, if competition comes up, like other companies start building more AI and everything like that, I feel like that will push NVIDIA to do a lot better too, like even more.
Oh, well, I don't know if it'll make them do better because I think they're trying to do the best they can now. But I guess to give Zaid some points, if you are right, Richard, and other companies come out and they make as good or better products and they get people to buy from them, remember, what is a fact is that all of these huge companies are expanding a lot, guys, like a lot. They're expanding their servers a lot. Google is like they're expanding their servers and chips and their need for chips by it's almost unbelievable how much. But that's not changing. But what can change is where they get their supply from. That can change, and that's the only way I could see it, NVIDIA slowing down, right?
I have a
Now,
question.
Yep.
You guys keep using the word chips. Like, what do you mean by chips?
the semiconductor chips. It's what goes into things to make them smartphones, smart computers.
Oh, like an actual chip. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else did you?
I thought you meant like actual like money or something. I
No.
don't know.
Semiconductor chip. Okay. Well, this was a good conversation. I'll start it off this last little segment we're gonna have by saying what companies, as far as stock price wise, in the next 3 months, what companies I think will do the best. So I'll start. I think my top picks are Lyft and SMCI. Those are my very biased top picks for the best performance in the next 3 months. Richard, there's no wrong answer. What company do you like the most?
NVIDIA.
You can say NVIDIA if you want.
Yeah, NVIDIA. And I feel like Tesla's gonna go up. It's taking a beat and it'll go up.
Okay, so Tesla and NVIDIA. Okay, Mimi, how about you?
I'm not too sure, to be honest, if that's a answer that.
It's not an answer. I need you to guess at very least. I don't care. You can make Apple one of them. Apple, right?
I mean, but the way it's looking right now, I don't even know.
Well, no, the way it's looking now, right now, it's beaten down. That should even, if they're still a good company, that means they're going to recover really well.
Okay, then Apple.
Okay, and what else? What other company?
Apple, and I mean, how is Hims doing? I don't know about Hims. How's Hims
You
doing?
like Hims? Hims? Oh, Hims is actually, they went up a lot and then they went down a lot. But
They'll come
Hims, say again.
They'll come back, I'm sure.
Right. So you like Hims then?
Yeah, I like Hims too.
Yeah, that's a good pick. All right. Zaid?
So for a 3-month scale,
Yeah, 3 months.
I have a couple. Let me think. So the next
Up
3
to.
months, up to 3 months, the next up to 3 months. I mean, as you know, I bought the dip for the crypt for Bitcoin and Ethereum. The Bitcoin dip was really good. I think I'm already up over 10%. I believe so. Haven't looked at the chart today. Yeah, I am. I'm up over 10% actually since I bought the dip like 3, 4 days ago. Uh, Lyft, I'm in on that too. I recently been looking at Uber because although Lyft might have a higher potential for reward, Uber is more into, I think Uber will outlive Lyft by big, long margins, and they're very cheap right now, according to what I've been looking at. I do think in the long run, not 3 months, they are going to be a really heavy competitor in the autonomous vehicles, autonomous taxis, which is going to completely change the whole way we do ride sharing. There isn't going to be a driver when you can call a robot to come pick you up for cheaper. Get rid of labor.
So what's your 3-month stock?
We're going to go Lyft, MSTR. I want to say Grayscale 2U.
Two. Always trying to break the rules. Always trying to break the rules. So your top 2 are MSTR, which I also have a lot of money in, and Uber.
We'll go for the next 3 months. We'll go Lyft. Longer term, I'd
You can't say
Uber.
Lyft. I already said Lyft.
Okay. Well, I agree with your Lyft statement. I guess then Uber then if I have to.
All right. Uber MSTR, Mimi is Hims and Apple. Richard is Nvidia, and who else?
Tesla. I said Tesla.
And Tesla. And I am SMCI and Lyft. All right. Well, we'll check it in 3 months and see who was right. But yeah, guys, today this was a much calmer podcast than last week's. So
I didn't yell this time. Oh my gosh.
yeah. And I didn't even yell at Zaid. Yeah. But no, it was a good one. All right. So with that said, thank you for all who listened. We kept it out under an hour this time, so you got more time to go do whatever the F you want to go do. But we are the Investment Club at UNC Charlotte. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.